So C, E flat, G flat, A, back to C. Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to today's jazz piano tutorial about left hand tension and substitution patterns. So we're gonna be talking about how you can actually use your left hand comping to create some more real interesting harmonies while you are improvising with your right hand. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. So today's guinea pig is going to be the simple chord of C major 7. So simply improvising over one single C major chord has the possibility of getting boring pretty quick, right? Okay, so this is going absolutely nowhere. But let's say you do actually have a single chord that is lasting for a long time in a song. Well, you want to have some interesting things that you can do over it that are going to sound cool. So let's talk about some of that. So in my opinion, one of the most basic go-tos for creating some harmonic tension with your left hand is a simple half step pivot. So we're literally just moving our left hand chord up a half step, and then we can actually improvise up a half step in our right hand, and it creates tension that's really fun to resolve, right? You might have actually heard licks like that before. So let's take a look at what I'm doing here. For my chord, I've got really a C6-9. I've got 3-6-9, okay? So I'm improvising in C major, but then I move that up, and this becomes a D flat 6-9. And now I'm improvising in D flat. And then back down the C to resolve. Cool. Now honestly, we could take this even further. We could actually go up a half step and then up another whole step. So that would mean we went from D flat to E flat major, and we could actually make a little progression out of this all over C. So we could do C, D flat major, E flat, D flat. So we could actually make a little progression out of that, right? All right, now another cool thing we could do is instead of just moving up in half steps or even whole steps, we could do minor thirds. So if we're gonna do minor third motion, what we can do is C, up to an E flat major, up to a G flat major, and up to an A, okay? And then we can reflect that with our improvisation. So here we go, C, E flat, G flat, A, back to C. I'm gonna do something like that, but a little bit slower, not only for your sake, but for my sake. So here we go. So C, E flat, G flat, A, back to C. Now, we've been keeping everything as just major, so just moving intervallically, but we could actually also, of course, use different tensions. So we could actually do, for example, a common one would be adding the 4 minor over the 1 major. So that means we're adding F minor over C major. So. Now, I could honestly go on all day about this stuff, so I'm not gonna go into every substitution you could possibly do, but I just wanted to show you guys how you can actually create more interesting harmonies by simply adding chords in your left hand against the original bass note. You don't always have to stick to the exact chords on the page. You can actually come up with some really fun and interesting harmonic tensions by doing your own thing, creating your own patterns, moving intervallically, or changing up tension. So definitely be sure to experiment with that on your own time when you're practicing. Really quick guys, before we move on, just wanted to throw out there that if you check out jazzpianoconcepts.com/store, I've actually got a bunch of awesome products available that are specifically designed with exercises and video examples and more to actually help you guys integrate these exact kind of things into your playing. So you're gonna learn all about voicings, improvisation, and much more. All right, guys, let's dive right back into this lesson. So far, guys, we've talked about creating harmonic tension with our comping choices and our chord choices in our left hand. But now I wanna ask you, what can we actually do rhythmically? So let's talk about that. So the most basic way of using our left hands while we're soloing is, of course, just playing chords like this, all the notes at once, that's it, and we're improvising in our right hands. But here are a few fairly easy and fun ways of actually doing some more interesting things. So number one, what if we actually arpeggiate our voicings instead of simply hitting all the notes at once? So let's just take a 2-5-1 in C as an example, D minor to G7 to C major, right? So a typical example would just be normal comping. Now let's try arpeggiating these. So that is just one interesting thing we can do. And of course, it may sound better or worse depending on what voicings you're using. So I was just doing basic D minor 9 to G13 to C major 9, right? Now this might actually sound more interesting with some different voicings. So maybe we could do D minor 11, 11, 5, flat 7, flat 3. And then maybe we could do G7 with a flat 9, right? And then back to this C major with a 6 in it, actually, a C major 6-9. So it'll look like this. So that's kind of cool, right? So something like those little arpeggios, I would use sparingly. I think it can be a little gimmicky if you do it too much, but doing it once in a while can be really interesting. Maybe something that's a bit more of a middle ground is instead of arpeggiating a whole voicing, we could actually alternate between the pinky and the rest of the chord. So we could do some interesting rhythms like that. So that's just one little trick we can do. Of course, we could actually do something that's almost the opposite here, which is instead of using our pinky as that one note, we could use the thumb as the low note. So we could do the top note, in other words, is by itself, and then we play the rest of the voicing. So all of this is to say, guys, that we can actually get really creative, right? We don't have to always just stick to these super basic uses of each hand, with the left hand just comping the chord that's written on the page and the right hand improvising. There's so much more we can do, and I just wanted to use this video as an opportunity to talk about how we could get more creative with our left hands. Of course, this tutorial has been specifically for when you're playing with a band. If we were talking about solo piano, there's actually a lot more that we could be talking about with how to use our left and right hands together. So again, today is left hand comping while you're improvising or playing with a band. All right, guys, so I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. And again, if you're interested in diving deeper into some different exercises that are really gonna help you take your playing to the next level, check out jazzpianoconcepts.com/store. If you enjoyed the lesson, please be sure to click the like button to give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, please consider clicking subscribe and the little bell to turn on notifications so you never miss another video like this one. All right, guys, thanks so much, and I will see you next week.